Gamchan has finally been released in Rise of Kingdoms despite all of the leaks. And today we're going to be talking about whether you should be maxing him and who you should pair him with. Let's get into it. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Chappy Gaming. And today we are talking all about the new commander, Gamchan. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chappy. I'm a sponsored Rise of Kingdoms content creator. And this commander has had a lot of controversy. He's been leaked not once, but at least twice. The first time that he was leaked was in the video where they went ahead and showed him in the bottom corner and people saw him. The second time he was leaked was when there was an ad that Rise of Kingdoms partners had made and released 3 days before his release, showing that he's the commander. And actually, they also had a leak for content creators about a year ago with his graphic. They put it in our assets folder that we can use for all of our logos and stuff and our thumbnails. And I saw him there too. So this guy has been a project for Rise of Kingdoms. Now, today, we're not going to do the video where I just read through all the skills for both commanders. There were 2 commanders released in this. I always do that, and people usually only care about the field commander, so we're just talking about Gong. So we're going to talk through his skills because we need to, and then we're going to talk about who I think you would pair him with and if you should be maxing him, and particularly if I should max him, because this is a commander that could make or break my March, and we're going to talk about this. So first things first, he is a versatility, cavalry, and combo commander. Nothing crazy there. And we really know that we're looking for a pair for Achilles, right? That's who we're looking for. Is he that pair? I don't know. If you guys missed my video on Achilles, check that out on the top right corner. My biggest concern with Achilles was I needed a tanky commander to put him with. I don't want a glass cannon march like Achilles Arthur because my marches are always getting swarmed anyways. So let's start with his first skill. Oof. The first thing that throws me off with his first skill is actually that he is a single target type primary skill. Not great. All good. Rage requirement 1000, launches 2 combo attacks against a target troop, damage factor of 1400. That accumulates to a damage factor of 2800. That's not bad. For the next 5 seconds, this commander's troop gains the Star Blessed effect. Ooh, it's giving me Ho Chu Bing vibes. Cavalry units in the troop gain 5% health, 5% defense, and increases healing from the Starlight skill by 100%. That's quite a bit. Now, we're going to come back to that because the Starlight skill is his next one. Overall, not a bad primary skill. If we go and we look at someone like Ho Chu Bing, who I have pulled up in the background here, his damage factor is 2700, and he's still a meta single target march. Not bad. So, okay, let's go back over here. So his next skill is, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. This commander's troop takes 10% less damage while on the map. Well, that's pretty huge. That's just a global 10% less damage. That's not a bad skill. And cavalry units in their troop gain 20% march speed and 30% defense. That's pretty much exactly what we were looking for. Like, we were looking at Achilles. I was saying how I didn't think he was tanky enough. There it is. 10% less damage while on the map, 20% march speed, 30% defense. That's literally everything we needed. Okay, let's look at the Starlight skill, because this is what that primary skill kicks off of, and this is important. If this commander is in a field troop, which it will be, their troop deals 15% normal damage, and remember, normal damage is also a bonus to combo damage, counterattack damage, so this is pretty much a 15% all damage boost. And whenever their troop deals combo attack damage, it recovers a large portion of its slightly wounded units, 10% of the combo attack damage dealt. Units healed by this skill cannot be healed by it again, and cannot be severely wounded, but can be slightly wounded until they return to your city. So this is interesting. Essentially, if on a skill proc, you deal 3,000 units, you will heal 10% of the combo attack damage dealt whenever you deal a skill damage. Now, your primary skill deals 2,800 damage factor, so that's pretty good. And if we do pair him with someone like Achilles, Achilles' active skill is going to be proccing multiple times. And this will work really well with Achilles because Achilles' active skill procs multiple times based on the damage taken. And so if we're healing, that means that Achilles' active skill is going to be proccing even more often. Pretty nice synergy. I'm just saying, it feels a little like they were built to go together. But the cool thing here is that first skill, if we go back over there, that first skill increases the healing from the Starlight skill by 100%. So if on a normal skill damage proc you heal, I don't know, again, let's say 3,000 units. That means that you get 300 of those units, and then it increases the healing by 100%. So now you're getting roughly 600 units back, which I think is actually pretty good. So I'm a fan. I think this is great. I like the synergy. I like the skills. He's tanky. He's not going to be a major damage output commander. That's not what he's supposed to be. I think we needed a tanky cavalry commander. The problem is these skills are really based on combo damage. Part of me wishes it was just like whenever an active skill triggers, this does that. That would be cool because then you could pair him with someone like Joan. It's not giving that. Next one, open the floodgates. Whenever this commander's troop deals combo attack damage to a field troop, has a 30% chance to reduce the target's defense by 5 seconds. This effect can trigger up to 3 times in a single second. Wow. Wow. We're talking about 120% defense debuff. And 30% chance is kind of the highest we tend to get in these scenarios. And what's cool about this is if you're running Achilles and you do deal combo attack damage, this is going to be nice for that second proc of Achilles' active skill because you have a chance to trigger it when you deal that active skill. And then you now have an additional chance to trigger it and deal more damage because of that second skill then triggers. That's pretty cool. That's really, really exciting. I'm pumped about that. That's a great synergy there. And cooldown of 5 seconds. That's not very long. Now for his expertise. Great victory at Guizhou. So this is an enhanced skill of his active. Damage factor is now 1,500, giving him a 3,000 damage output. Wow. For the next 5 seconds, this commander's troop now gains 10% health and 10% defense, and that healing buff is increased by 150%. So again, going back to our example, instead of 600 units, you're now getting 650 units. Remember, because it's based on that initial number. So this is pretty good. I think he's a pretty good commander. I know a lot of people are kind of roasting him. Here's that other commander. If you want me to make a video on David, let me know in the comment section below. I wasn't planning to. So people have really been roasting this commander. A lot of folks are saying he's weak, single target damage. I don't think this is what we needed. I think this is exactly what we needed. Now, is he a must max? I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because I don't think that you're going to be maxing him to run him with Arthur. So first, let's look at Arthur because I want to figure out if that's even feasible. So let's go over to Arthur real quick. Arthur has, AoE combo damage. This is great. If this commander's serving as secondary, that doesn't matter. This commander's cavalry units gain 20% march speed. There's no instant proc combo damage, which one thing I'm looking for. Units gain 30% health and 30% attack and 20% health. If this commander is serving as a primary, their troop gains a bonus damage. Yep, we love that. Then if this commander's troop is attacking a field troop, whenever it launches a combo attack or deals direct damage, has a 30% chance to reduce all targets' rage by 100 every second for the next 2 seconds. So this is interesting because there is a dual purpose kind of situation here where if you are using Gong, then when you deal any kind of combo damage, you have a chance to then heal. Whereas with Arthur, you have a chance to debuff the target by 100. That doesn't really feel like it goes together, just being honest. And there's the expertise. So no instant proc damage on Arthur. His rage regen is what his rage regen is. I'm not seeing anything that really makes me think he's definitely going to be a great pair. The only thing I see here is whenever their troop launches a basic attack, it has a chance to launch one extra combo attack. This could work. This could work with Gong. He's not my favorite pair for Gong. I'm just being honest. This could work, though. If you have expertise Arthur, this 50% chance could then make it so you are going to get that healing factor. And the interesting thing is this effect can trigger multiple times per second. Each time it triggers a second. So this is also cool because it will kind of guarantee that. If we go back to the skills, it will kind of guarantee that trigger there. So there's some synergy there. You could run them together. Is that the best pair for Arthur? I actually don't think so. The pair that I'm thinking makes the most sense, in my opinion, is actually going to be with Achilles. And big shocker there. So let's go down and let's take a look at Achilles. And I'll talk through why I think that's the pair that matters and why I think that's the pair that you're going to want to run. So if we go over here, we have Achilles. Achilles has circular AoE combo attack damage, which is awesome. But the reason why this is awesome is because, again, whenever their troop deals combo attack damage, it recovers a large portion of healing units. Great. But what's better here is this skill. So if we go over here, you'll see whenever this commander's troop deals combo attack damage to a field troop, any field troop, it has a 30% chance to reduce that target's defense by 40% for 5 seconds. When paired with Achilles, that circular AoE is going to hit potentially 5 targets or more in Emergable, meaning you can debuff any of those 5 targets. You notice the way they worded this. It's any field troop, not your current target, any field troop. I feel like a lot of people are going to miss this. That's where a lot of that synergy comes in. So I really like that. I love that AoE attack. The other thing here, you got a debuff with Achilles. That's fine. Targets are inflicted with Sundered, increasing damage they receive from his active skill. This effect can stack up to 3 times. Again, let's go over here. You get the attack bonus from Achilles. You get the march speed bonus. You get the health. There's no defense on Achilles. That was my biggest complaint. Then we go over here. It takes 5% less damage. Perfect. And all incoming skill damage and combo attack damage is reduced by 5%, but you don't have the all damage taken, which we now get. Really, really nice synergy there. Whenever this effect reduces a total of 5,000 damage factor taken, this commander casts Pelion Spear. Again, with more units, you're going to be able to take more damage without reducing that damage output. This was one of my complaints with Achilles to begin with, is the whole basis of his triggering of his active skill multiple times is on the damage he takes. Without healing, what that means is on every subsequent trigger of that skill, the damage output is going to be relatively low. However, with a really good healing commander, that damage output can now continue to be high because you can take a lot more damage for longer. It gives you more lasting time. The other thing is, he has this skill here which says that whenever it uses Pelion Spear, it gains a bonus to rage gain speed. That rage gain speed is important. When we're looking at a commander that is triggering a heal based on his rage, and we're looking at a commander that is a single target, he really needs to be proccing that skill frequently for him to be worth having in the field. So this I actually really like. I think there's a great synergy here. The other thing is, what you're talking about is you gain a bonus to attack. So you get a 10% bonus to attack, and you get the bonus from Gom's primary skill, which is going to give you defense and health, I believe. If we go back over here. Yeah, it's going to give you defense and health. So now you're getting attack, defense, and health. There's just a lot of stats going on between these two skills. And so I really think this is the synergy. The other reason I like this, I don't want to be putting Arthur with Achilles. I think it's a glass cannon. I've talked to different people. Some people have said, no, it's not a glass cannon. Arthur Achilles is less of a glass cannon than Arthur William. Fine. But my cavalry, when I'm running cavalry, are dying constantly. They are not my best march by any means. But my best march has continuously been QSH. I like the pairing between Achilles and Gong because it then enables me to pair Ho Chu Bing with Arthur. And I'm going to flash some images on the screen right now from the KVKs. I think there were 2. When I ran Ho Chu Bing with Arthur. It was my best March. Without question, it was my best March. So if I can run Ho Chi Bing with Archer and Achilles with Gong, now I have 2 great marches, and I no longer have to worry about having 2 combo attack marches. I don't need that. I can run Ho Chi Bing with Arthur, have a skill damage march. They're about to release a new skill damage formation, and then I can have Achilles with Gong and do that. Alternatively, I guess you could run Arthur with Philip, which a lot of people have been doing, which is a little bit tankier and it buffs all your marches. So you could have a buff coming from that Philip march, and you can have the debuff that's coming from Gong. You could do that too. I just don't like Arthur with Achilles. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Are you going to be maxing our new commander, Gamchan? I'm thinking that if you have the gold heads, he probably is worth maxing. I currently have 1,400 gold heads, so I'm probably going to be maxing him in Achilles. Thank you all. Chappy out.